Hi everyone, and welcome to this learning session part of the BIM Harambee Africa conference. I hope you are enjoying the conference thus far and learning a lot. And today we are just going to be continuing on that learning wave. And the topic that we're going to be doing, which I'm going to be showing you, falls under the Scan to BIM. And this is going to be utilizing Autodesk ReCap Pro for point clouds. Now, point clouds are normally derived from laser scanning, and you're going to see how we're going to be processing that today for further use in design authoring tools. I am your instructor for today's learning session. I am Shuaib Yunos. I am the BIM technical specialist for civil infrastructure and mining here at Baker Baines in South Africa. And I'm also a civil design technologist, BIM for civil infrastructure specialist, as well as an Autodesk certified instructor. I have presented and imparted my knowledge throughout various conferences, online events throughout the world, such as presenting at the South African Institute of Civil Engineers, SAIC, here in South Africa. I have done the Geotech conference in 2017, looking at geospatial and reality capture. I have presented at Autodesk University Africa 2018, selected to present at Autodesk University Las Vegas, as well as being able to present at this year's Autodesk University 2020. This is going to be a virtual conference again, so feel free to join and learn from a lot of different professionals throughout the world. I really hope to spur on digital transformation within the civil infrastructure industry by sharing my expertise with fellow professionals, thus empowering them to build a better Africa and a better world. So now that you know a little bit about me, let's look at the agenda for today. Scan to BIM, what is it exactly? So I have summed it up to 3 words, 3 steps. So if you're new to it, don't worry, I have you covered. Then we're going to look at what is Autodesk ReCap Pro, and then we're going to jump straight into the demonstration or instructional demo, where we're going to be using it to process point clouds. And then we're going to wrap it up and let you get on with your day. So Scan to BIM, what does it entail? Like I said, 3 words, 3 steps. Scan is the first process where you would use a laser scanner, LiDAR, drones, whatever laser scanning or scanning 3D scanning technology that's available to capture the existing environment or reality. Once that has been done, we need to take that raw data that has been acquired and process it to ensure that it's registered, indexed, structured, and verified for accuracy. And thereafter, that data is imported into your CAD modeling tool or your BIM modeling tool that you can actually do design of and tracing. So where does ReCap Pro fall? It falls in the processing part of it. And today I'm going to be showing you just that. So what's the benefits of the Scan to BIM workflow? First of all, I mean, the picture on the right-hand side says it all. You will have a design that you had been working on. It has gone to construction. And after construction, when you're doing your as-built capture and you do your scanning, you can see that where the pipe was in the original design intent has now been shifted slightly when constructed, which does happen sometimes for various reasons. So that model needs to be updated to ensure the accurate as-built state of the building or plant or whatever you are doing. It results in fewer physical site visits because you don't miss a measurement. Normally when you're doing it manually, the tape measure route is a very painful way of doing it, and you do forget sometimes if you have a lot of things to actually measure. It's quicker, it's much more accurate, it's automated, it reduces rework and allows for easier redesigning. So now that you know more or less what Scan to BIM entails, what is Autodesk ReCap Pro? I'll give you a quick overview. So it's used to process point cloud data, the product being a .rcp file. This RCP file can be imported into many different software in the Autodesk environment, it can be imported into AutoCAD, Civil 3D, InfraWorks, Revit, Inventor, and you could do your design from there. It's used to index, register, and this can be done either automatic or manual to verify the data and get it accurate. And it's of course compatible with a variety of scan data file formats, as you will see just now. And it's a part of the AEC collection. If you don't know what the AEC collection is, it is architecture, engineering, and construction. This is a bundle of tools that Autodesk have put together for professionals in this sphere of design. And we're going to be looking at the ReCap Pro from this. So again, if you want to have a picture overview of the process, the scan will be done using whatever hardware you prefer. This captured data then is brought into Autodesk ReCap Pro on the desktop, where it is processed, and the deliverable being an RCP file. And once that RCP file is produced, it can then be imported into the architecture, engineering, construction collection like you've seen before, or if you are in the product design and manufacturing space, those tools there, right? So scan, process, model. Okay, so now that you have an understanding of what we're going to be doing, let's jump into the actual design or the demo. Now, I am using a file called TechShop Scan Data. The reason why I'm using it is because when you install Autodesk ReCap Pro, it comes standard with it. So you can actually go and play with the data yourself. If you don't know where to find it, you can always check on the Autodesk Knowledge Network for Autodesk ReCap. It will show you the file path where these files are saved. Alternatively, if you just open up your Google or your browser and you type in Autodesk ReCap sample files, you will find this TechShop data scan. So if you can get a hold of that, by all means get it, play around with it, and apply what you learned here today. You can always come back and watch the video or this presentation when you are ready. So let's start off with the project settings. So I am going to be firing up Autodesk ReCap Pro here. Okay. So when you install Autodesk ReCap Pro, you'll have two shortcuts, one for photo and one for point cloud. The one we are using is point cloud. As you can see, there's a lot of learning resources that you can do with hyperlinks. You can also toggle that off. And if you want to get it back, you can always go back to the what's new button like you're seeing on my screen. At the bottom is like some of the recent projects that you've worked on. There's also some data and also social media handles that you can actually find cool content on. And if we go to the settings tab, you can also set a coordinate system for your scan. So if you do know it, so for example, if I type in here South Africa, South Africa, you'll see all of the coordinate systems that are prevalent to South Africa pops up. You can also change certain settings here, but from experience, they're quite perfect, so leave them alone. But the unit measure, as you change it, also that will update. So I'm going to be using meters here, metric. All right. In terms of files, the recent file list is reflective of what you saw on my bottom of my screen here. So if it's up to 6, I will see the last 6 projects that I've been working on. You can add a search part for your scan files. And here you can just change your language. So if your Italian is quite good, by all means, go for it. Okay. Now that we've seen that, we're going to open up a file per project. So we can hit new. As you can see, we're going to be importing a point cloud. If you use the BLK, you would use that option. And if you did photogrammetry, it'll be photo to 3D. So let's give it a name. So it's going to be TechShop Scans. Again, you can find this on the online Autodesk portal, where you can just search for sample files, download it, and you can use it. So here I am. As you can see, like I said, it's compatible with a whole range of scan file formats. And there is my data that has been actually created. So that's the RCP file that's going to be populated. The support file is going to be all of the metadata that's linked to that shortcut file. You can see it is a project file. And my raw data is saved in the TechShop Scan data. I've created a folder for it. Okay, very important. If you are transferring, the RCP and support file needs to be in the same location and needs to be attached together. So please don't just send the RCP file. So these are all of the scan files that have been derived from the scanner. Okay, in this case, it was a Faro scanner, so it's FLS format. So we can hit open, and this is where we can play with the settings. Minimal being not that strict, it'll process all of the points. Standard being also pretty in between, and aggressive being very, very particular in terms of scan noises. So I'm going to leave it to standard. Aggressive will be very, very particular, so less scan noise. If you're starting off, just use the standard or minimal. Range clipping is depending on the range of the scanner, so you can clip off points at a certain range that you don't need, and intensity clipping as well. You can adjust that. I'm just going to leave it at the default. Of course, you can type in an exact value if needed, if you don't want to use the slider. And if we go to the advanced tab, again, this is where we can set the decimation grid. We're going to leave that to 0, or we can switch it off if needed. And again, the smaller values will preserve more of the original points, right? So you want to keep the points quite fine. So we're going to leave it at 0. And if you want to set up a coordinate system, again, this is where you can set it. By all means, you can go and select whichever part in the world you are in, you can assign that. And if you are doing a coordinate transformation, you can also set a target system. So again, if I type in South Africa, you can see that this does pop up, and of course, so on. You can also adjust your axes if needed, but I would strongly recommend leaving it as it is. Okay. So again, it shows you that the 16 file formats or files that we have imported, and we are now ready. Once we have the settings according to what we'd like, we can then go and adjust or start the import process. So everything is okay. I'm happy with what I see. And we can now go to the import files option. So now that we've configured the settings or the interface itself, we're now going to go to import the scan data and apply registration and indexing. So as you can see, once you hit import, this is the process that it's going to be doing. You have an option to auto register, which we are going to use, right? So auto registration will automatically piece in the software scans together. It will find common points and overlaps and balance to merge these scans together. Okay, sometimes this can take a while depending on the amount of scan files that you have. Okay, so it might not be as quick as you're seeing on my screen. Also, your processing power on your computer, those type of things. So this can take a little bit of time, so just be patient. You can see here it has taken me just under 10 minutes, as you can see on my screen. I've just fast forwarded it, so just to save us time. But 10 minutes is really not that bad as well. So once it has imported, it will start to actually automate or automatically register the scan, right? So we've got two options. One is for automatic registration, one is for manual registration. So while this is processing, I'm going to explain what is manual registration. If for some reason the software cannot find common features in the scan and stitch it together or match it automatically, it will rely on human intervention, i.e. yourself, to go and pick common points in the scan and match it manually. Hence, we've got the word register manually, okay? So it's a good thing also for verification. Sometimes you might find that the automatic registration, if you're doing a very similar area with similar background or imagery, it can tend very seldomly to connect to a very similar point that's not correct. And this is where you can go and manually adjust it. So again, you've got the best of both here, where you can use automatic registration to do the bulk of the matching for you. And if something has not been matched, then we can come into manual registration. All right. So again, I've left this on for a little bit to show you that it does take a few minutes. It doesn't just work instantly. Again, the more scan files, the larger your scan files are, the more data dense they are. in terms of the point cloud or the noise that's in them, the more data it's going to take, or the more time it's going to take. All right. So again, this is the desktop app. So once it's done, you will get this page to show you that certain files have not matched. So I've done this intentionally, and that's why this data set is quite great, where it shows you to apply both automatic registration as well as manual registration. As you can see, it's saying no match is found between scan 000 to TechShop scan 012 on the right hand side. So all we got to do now is find a similar scan or scanning area to match these points. As you can see, as you toggle between left and right, the software itself will still try and help you to say, I will look for certain common features to help you out so that I can try and match it for you. Alternatively, you will have to do it yourself. Okay, so this part I have done also or stretch it out quite a bit. So I have put myself in your shoes that you're using the software for the first time. Now, how do I make these match? So you will have to toggle through the list like you're seeing on my left. Again, if you have done the scan yourself, you will be able to pick up very quickly where the common feature is or where you are. But if you have received the data from someone else, this is more or less what's going to happen. You will have to go and try and find a match or common point between both these scans, right? So let's try and click on another one, maybe let's use 009, right? Okay, so 009, no, this doesn't really look right to me. So as you can see at the bottom right on the right hand side of the screen, it's still processing to try and find a match for you. Okay, so all you got to do now is you got to look for the common features in both the left hand side and the right hand side of the screen. Like as you can see here, I've got something that is quite similar. All right, so let's zoom in. Does it look like that? That is on that corner there on the left, as you can see, right? But that's going to be quite hard to match up. I want something that's much more easier. So let's change the TechShop scan. So I'm going to show you that you can even navigate to the scans in plan view, like you're seeing in my screen. So if I click on those dots are the position of the scanner when you did the scan. So wherever you placed it, it will pick it up in plan, right? So as you can see, if I double click, it will jump to that scan. Okay, so I don't think it's going to be that one. Let's try TechShop 006. Okay, I think we are getting a bit close now. So it should be around this area here. So let's check 007. And will this be what we're looking for? Okay, so we've got that blue board there. I think we can actually try and use that because if I remember, on the right-hand side, we also had it. Here we are, okay? So as you can see, I found a common point in the scan. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on the corner of that board and I'm gonna select the corner on the right-hand side. So this is like match the dots, literally, okay? It's good to take one point in the X coordinate, one in the Y, one in the Z direction. So it gives you a balanced stitch. So I'm going to use the corner of that table. Okay, so about there and maybe somewhere there, right? So we've got two common points now. We need one more. And let's go and use certain objects here. So I can actually come in here and zoom in. So again, I'm just panning around. Let's try and find a good feature to use. All right. So again, you can use your discretion here. It doesn't have to be the exact same points as mine. I'm going to use the tip of that pole, for example. And as you can see, it tells you that we found the match. We can merge it. And green shows you that it's a solid match. Okay. You've got different colors that will be yellow. You'll see, if you see a yellow match, that means that it's a good match. It's an average match. Green being very close or accurate, and red being a very poor match. So it'll allow you to combine the scans, but it's not that great of a match. Like you can see here, it's showing me that it's yellow. That means that it's not the greatest of matches, but we can actually stitch it together. So it's always good practice to check the surrounding environment first if it does actually toggle up or match what you're seeing there. Again, it's nice to do a scan when it's vacant, otherwise you would have gotten like floating people around that look like poltergeists or ghosts. So it's good practice to have a vacant area when you're scanning. As you can see, here's our ghost there. I'm just looking around. What we can do is we can just merge the scan for now, because I think you have an idea of how it works. And with that, you should see that the screen will now merge into one. What that means is that everything now has been registered in and verified in terms of accuracy, position, and stitching. So we will just give it a few seconds just to, there we go. And now everything is correct. So if everything is in one screen, that's good to go. It gives you a registration report, green being good, orange being okay. And if there's any red, you might want to fix that. You can also assign targets if needed. You can adjust various things. And what we're going to do now is index. Now, this is the last step of the processing process. Indexing will allow you to create a .rcp file, the product of a Autodesk ReCap Pro file or a point cloud that has been processed. And then this RCP file can then be imported into whichever Autodesk software you're using. It can be Civil 3D, Revit. In this case, because it's a building, it'll be a good idea to import it into Revit, in which your modeling can then be done in a much more BIM intelligent software. Okay, so again, this also can take some time depending on the spec of your computer or any background apps that are running or taking your resource. Also, the amount of scanned files. Here we've got just 16. Sometimes you might have 100. I've done some that had about 134, but it still doesn't take that long as I expected. So if you do have a big file, I would say leave this towards the end of the day, let it process. Or if you have any other work going on, do that and let this to process in the meanwhile, in the background, so that you can kill two birds with one stone, as the saying says, right? So as this is processing, you can see that it's giving you a tick and a gear icon next to each sphere or scan file, right, to show you that it has been done. We're currently at 84%, so we're almost there. And once this is complete, it will tell you a launch project, right? So I would say wait for it to 100% complete, because if I do click launch project, it will process and show me as it's going. But it's much more better to let the software do its thing and then let it go. Click on launch project and it'll open up in Autodesk ReCap. So we just got a little bit more. We're on 88% now. Again, yours could be faster than mine. It depends, right? You might have a better computer or less things running in the background. And we are almost at the completion stage. We can then go to launch project. So here we are. So if we click launch project now, this is the product of the scan in Autodesk ReCap Pro. As you can see, there's a lot of floating dots that don't belong there. That is because we use a standard setting for filtering. If we use aggressive, those probably won't be there because the software would identify intelligently that those points do not really belong to anything. So now that we've scanned it, we can then publish it, and we can also have an overview of the scan. So while it is publishing, I'm going to take you through a fly through of the interface. So let's look at that. So all I got to do is go to I can toggle this depending on the view cube, right? Something that's very basic in any CAD software or modeling software. The view cube helps you to view things in different angles and much more quicker. You can also go and pan, zoom, save, all of these type of things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to publish this. Now, publishing will allow you to share it with fellow designers and fellow users. You can grant them permissions. So I'm going to publish this first. This will use the Autodesk 360 service. It's an online cloud service. I can give it a name, and I can even select which scans I want to, but I'm going to publish all of them. And as you can see, it's telling me now it's busy uploading it to the Autodesk cloud. So while that is happening, let's take an overview of ReCap Pro. So first of all, we've got something called a real view. This is brilliant because it combines the imagery in conjunction with the point cloud data, so it makes life much more easier, very clear to what you're seeing here. I can jump to certain points and have a look. This is called panoramic viewing. If I click on the spheres symbolize the position of the scanner during the actual scanning process. And we can go and we can toggle around, we can pan, we can look up, down, left, right. We can do a full 360. And we can also get measurements, distances, markups, we can add notes and so on. So for example, if I want to get a measurement maybe from there till that corner, you can see it actually gives me that. And it also gives you the XYZ coordinate of that, which is quite crazy. And you can do a lot of different other things. I mean, it also allows you to calculate the angles. So if I move it, you can see it gives you the angles, it gives you the distance, it updates, it's dynamic in nature, so it's really good. I can also switch this off or on. I can attach PDFs, imagery, anything to that if I needed to, and I'm just going to delete it. I can also add a note. If we switch back to the point cloud, this is how it looks. Very good dense point cloud right here. And we can also customize it in terms of the display size, the coloring or display. So for example, elevation, that's elevation mapping. You can see we've got a band on the left that tells you what it is. Okay, we can do it according to intensity, which is slightly different, normal, and we can also like scan locations, we can actually do it differently. I'm going to leave it to color. Then you've got different options here. I'm going to show you how you can fly through your scan. Again, it shows you on the screen how you would do it, but once you do select the fly option, you can then actually fly through your scan, right? So I'm currently zooming, okay? I can also select certain points if I want to. Again, if you're not sure what it is, you can see it shows you how you can actually fly or what shortcuts or what you would need to use, right? So let's go and fly through here. Again, I'm still zooming and panning around just to show you that you can do it much more easier, and you will know exactly when I'm going to be flying. You'll see that there will be an arrow that will actually present itself. So you can see it gives you a nice good overview, and this is now where I'm flying through, where you can literally go through the model at a nice pace. This is nice if you got video recording equipment. I mean, on your screen where you can actually do it, you can actually do a fly through, record it, save it, and send it to someone. Or you can also use view states that is built into the software, create a small animation, export it to MP4, and share it whatever you'd like. So this is more or less the flying part of it. Again, you can be a ghost for a little while and just fly around. But I thought while this is publishing in the cloud, I will give you a quick overview of what you can do in Autodesk ReCap Pro. So once it is published, we can then share it with others. So as you can see, it tells me that it has been published 3 minutes ago, it's all good. And now I can go and share it with whoever I like. As you can see, I am the owner of the file. So I can just type in the person's email address. So I'm going to send it to Jan, my colleague here, and I can set his permission. So I can only give him view access. He can edit it, he can control it. So if you want to share it with someone that just for review purposes, I can assign it to view, and they will receive a link that they can go and access online and have a view of it. Speaking about online, we can have a look at the Autodesk ReCap online website. So as you can see, I have sent the invitation to Jan, there is a link that I can then share with anyone, same like how you would use with your common sharing cloud applications. I can copy that link, paste it, and send it to anyone. So I'm going to just open up Google and go to recap.autodesk.com. Okay. It will take me to the sign in page. I've already been signed in. You can see my account is on there. And this is the tech shop data that we actually published right now. So let's go to the share. Again, you can see Jan has already been added to this. So I'm just going to close this. But let's go have a view at how it looks online. So again, you don't need software for this. This is the online browser or online viewer. As you can see on the right hand side, it shows me all these scans that have been processed, the scan locations. It might take a little time, right, to process, and here we are. So again, this is not as streamlined as the actual app, but it's good enough for review purposes. As you can see, it's currently processing. And as I preview, you can see that it's got like a gray shot on the left-hand side. That's because the scene has not fully loaded. And once it hits 100%, you will see it looks better. So it shows me the scan positions. I can toggle now. You can see this was what has been progressed. So if Jan clicks on that link, he will be able to view this. And of course, you can also add in markups and text on here. So if you're collaborating with someone, you can do that. We can switch off the scanning locations if we want to. And there's also a button where we can actually provide feedback to Autodesk if you want a certain feature and stuff like that. So again, this is the basic online viewer. You can go do measurements. You can actually toggle to whichever scan you want to, and you can view it online. So that's it for our instructional demo on Autodesk ReCap Pro for point clouds. I hope it made sense. Just to recap what we've done, recap, right? No pun intended, actually. We created a project very easily, and then we imported it based on the settings that we had set. We then took advantage of the auto registration functionality, which saved us time from manually registering each and every scan. We were left with, I think, 2 scans that we needed to manually register, right? It allows for foolproof design because when the software cannot process it, human intervention is required, and you can actually assist in that process. And then you can also make use of the AEC collection tool. So from there, you can import it into the AEC collection, the PDM collections that I did show you. If you had not used it, why not use it now, especially with the streamlined functionality? And the best thing about this is you eradicate and minimize error-prone design, construction, and as-built capture. So this is why laser scanning is becoming such a great tool and such a great impactful way of getting things done much more quicker, accurate, and automated. So thank you very much. I hope you have learned something with regards to Scan to BIM, processing the data in ReCap Pro. Please, if you want to give it a shot, like I said, just Google Autodesk ReCap Pro sample files. You will see the tech shop scan data readily available for you to download. You can also download a trial of ReCap Pro if you don't have it on your computer, and go have fun and just play around with it. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference. Help us build a better Africa, and just take care and enjoy.